even after winning the NLA and the IML titles, which, back when the earth was cooling, put me on the cover of Drum Magazine. Distributed in 34 states, I'll have you know. Like the old lady in Titanic said, wasn't I a dish? As many of you are likely to know, last weekend I attended the Leather Leadership Conference, which was held in my home city, Los Angeles. I was honored to be their keynote speaker this year, but I must tell you, I was surprised by how many head folks there were hiding behind scene names, yet whose very presence at that particular conference suggests a serious interest in leadership. My buddy Matt at Pope asked the question best: how do you lead from inside a closet? It's time to remind everyone that the people who founded the organization that you are members of were all out and proud of themselves. None of them used a scene name. None of them. None of the founders of Janus and none of the kinky gay men and lesbians who first formed these organizations used scene names either. I read their names to you a few moments ago. And that was true for the Society of Janus back in 1974 and for the NLA back in 1986 as well. Now, I don't know why any specific gay man or lesbian, or head folks for that matter, offers to serve in these organizations without using a scene name. You'll have to ask them yourselves if you want the answers. But what I do know with some degree of confidence is that all of us have made ourselves available as role models for being out and proud because of our differences, if you will, because of our uncommon integrity. Now, many things in my lifetime have changed. There used to be 9 planets. Adieu, Pluto. There used to be 12 signs of the zodiac, but now there are 13. Homosexuality began to peek its way into PG movies. In 1981, the first Indiana Jones film, early on, the last boy out of Dr. Jones's classroom rushes out, eyes looking at the floor, but he musters up the courage to put an apple on hot Harrison Ford's desk just before he leaves the room. 1993, early in the Pelican Brief, we find a law school discussion of the Bowers versus Hardwick decision of the Supreme Court. Cut to 2010, during the Christmas season. The ad for Jared Jewelers on cable TV proclaims that their chocolate diamonds are anything but vanilla. Lady Gaga calls her new hit song Born This Way. In Web Soup 3, we find video clips of college boys in various ball torture stunts, a la Rites of Passage. At the last Academy Awards, at least 2 same-sex relationships were acknowledged in acceptance speeches. We saw the co-hosts cross-dressed. The word master found its way into another acceptance speech. My friends, the world is simply not as dangerous a place as those who hide might have you believe. Gay men can tell you about the dangers of hiding as a habit. Like it or not, We are all parents at some level. At the very least, we are the parents of the next generation of kinkoid people, and we owe them the best that's in us. We all know that these days, anyone can get any question answered online about anything to do with any kind of sex whatsoever. But eventually, some percentage of young people who begin to think that they might be kinky will need places where they'll be able to meet other kinky people in face-to-face situations. And what exactly do you want those young searchers to be confronted with when they do show up in brick-and-mortar establishments? What sort of atmosphere do you want to create for them to learn about the amazing sexuality, the transformational erotic ecstasies that we know how to conjure and manage? How do you want them to feel about themselves? Is it worth it to you that they learn in a better environment than the one you first found? Dare I say it, an environment in which uncommon integrity is the rule and not the exception? Let me remind you that words integrity and integrate are related. In psychology, we speak about an integrated personality. And by that we mean that all the parts of oneself fit together and mesh smoothly with all the other parts. We mean that no part of the self is exiled. We mean that all parts of the self welcome all the other parts of the self. We mean that none of the parts of the self are at war with each other. If all the het world wanted from us, wanted from gay Leathermen, was information about the magic of BDSM and the technique and tools to conjure that magic, only to then withdraw back into a hidey place of secrecy and fear, well then, the most hard-won lessons and values of gay men have gone to waste. As I said in Los Angeles last week, the brave may not live forever, but the ashamed do not live at all.
That's right.
You know, these days I'm often asked, how can we attract more gay men into our clubs and organizations? And the clear implication is that there once was a time when gay men in particular were more evident in the NLA chapters than is now the case, and I'm certain that's true. But in truth, I must tell you, I don't think gay men will be coming back to these organizations. In fact, I think that the feeling among most gay men today, and this is just my opinion, I think the feeling is that we've given the het world the best that's in us for more than 20 years now. And it's time for us to spend our time and energy looking after ourselves. Once again, the het world has absorbed all the information it can by now. We have done our best for you, and now it's time for us to take care of us. Time for us to rebuild the bonds of brotherhood which HIV shattered. Time for us to focus on socializing our own young kinklings into the ritual mating dances that are particular to our world of malehood. Time for us to give our undivided attention to the preservation of our own institutions and strengthen the ties that bind our own special tribal culture together. Is there anyone here who has never heard the phrase, birds of a feather? It's common knowledge that rich people prefer to live around other rich people. That black people tend to prefer to live near other black people of the same class. That gay people often prefer to live in gay neighborhoods, and that foreigners like to live around others of the same nationality. And we also know that some religious communities also function that way too. And why is that? Well, it's because people like to be around others who reflect their same values back to themselves. Segregation is natural. And so in that spirit, it's time for you to welcome back all the other het people who felt uncomfortable around gay men, and to a lesser extent, I think, lesbians. They need what you've learned from us, and I hope that you'll do your best to take care of them as your own brothers and sisters, too. But it's time for us to pull ourselves back together again and let you sink or swim. My point is that my explanation for the trend that we've seen in so many BDSM organizations all across the nation is that I think it just might be time for gay men to go home, to come home to each other, and to look after our young. And if we're lucky, it won't be too late to give them our full attention now, and hopefully have equal or better success at teaching them uncommon integrity. Thank you for your time and attention.